Congratulations, Alibaba.com, in your growth in online users and your growth into the larger share of the Chinese e-commerce market and just um, the overall expansion of your website and who you're reaching. So, upon first inspection, when I went on to Alibaba.com, and I'm very used to Amazon because, of course, in America, that's really what we use here. But the biggest things that I noticed was, first of all, was the amount of imitation products. There would be several products such as like Apple, JBL, especially with like headphones and earbuds and technologies of that sort, would be imitation products that would be $2 or $3 for what was labeled as an Apple or JBL product when you could tell it just didn't really look quite the same. It wasn't the same price and it wasn't from the same supplier either. And the next thing I noticed was just across the board extremely cheap prices. And that just kind of raised some questions for me. I was wondering, why can they sell these so-called name brand products that would retail here in the U.S. for $80 when on this website they're retailing for 5 or 6 or even less, really. And this reminded me more so of eBay than Amazon because it had lots of opportunities for auctions, trade shows, and really just contacted a lot of different sellers and expanded opportunities to the consumer to sell their product on their site and them not just buying it from Alibaba.com. Another thing I noticed, there was some really bizarre products you could buy on there. There was excavators, there was cars, there was farm machinery, and things that you just can't really buy online normally. Whereas Amazon, they can maybe direct you to products like that, but you're not going to be able to actually purchase a tractor on Amazon. But I noticed you could buy one of those on Alibaba.com. And there was some attempt on this website as a just for you section or a kind of personalized approach as Amazon does. They'll do the advertisements will suggest products to you based on cookies and what you've been shopping for. So there was some attempt at this, but it was not very organized. And then upon further research, I'm just learning that there's a lot more competitors for e-commerce in China and throughout Southeast Asia and Vietnam, Laos, and countries like that. So there's not really one dominant firm down there, whereas Amazon and eBay kind of dominate the e-commerce market in the United States and the Western world. And so some improvements I would suggest for the website and their developers is, first of all, you'd have to change this website if it's going to look less. It needs to look less like a scam and more like a shopping website, because the fact that there were full-on brand new tractors selling for $400 just seemed like very extremely suspicious. And so I would suggest that, and then seeking out just better suppliers to provide higher quality products for more realistic prices, so people aren't going to get scammed for their money. And then I just noticed that the website was pretty cluttered, and again, it just didn't really look like a shopping website. It just looked like an auction or a yard sale of sorts. So another suggestion I would make is show the actual price, not just a crazy range of prices. For example, there was a drill that had one drill on it and just a couple pictures of the same thing, and all it said for pricing was $2 to $90, and that information is not very helpful for a customer or anyone really looking at that. They're not going to know what they're getting because no one wants to buy a $2 drill because they're going to suspect that it's super cheap and it's going to break. But no one knows how good a $90 drill of that caliber is because there's also the same one for $2 apparently. And so next off, this company's strategy for reaching rural parts of China is their service called Rural Taobao. And some statistics here. So 42% of China's population is rural, while they only make up 17% of e-commerce purchases. So essentially what Alibaba.com has done to kind of bridge this gap between rural and urban buyers is they've made these mobile sites or service centers of sorts where customers can actually walk or drive to places and they're able to use the internet. They're able to shop for basic goods and necessities such as toothpaste, toothbrushes, soap, even mobile phones and things like that. And what this does essentially is it kind of connects people in a rural, lower income environment more so to the modern world, and it gives them a chance to experience in get their hands on some modern amenities that they wouldn't previously have had access to. So I saw a thing very similar to this in rural Missouri. It wasn't necessarily that people were going to use the internet, but a lot of places in Missouri, the roads are very bad, or there's no cell service to get to them with GPS. So GPS signal's very poor, and so instead of having deliveries made straight to people's houses, they were actually delivered to a very small Amazon site near a gas station that was a pickup center for people that are delivering Amazon orders to that area, that particular area in Missouri. So some improvements for, you know, this certain service that they provide is I would suggest surveying income demographics in the areas. Of course, you're going to want to survey incomes in rural versus urban communities, because, for example, marketing what you're selling to an urban population probably isn't going to sell extremely well to a rural community. And for example, you know, poor people are not going to be extremely interested in extremely expensive clothes. They're not going to pay $500 for a shirt because they can't afford to do that. So instead of offering one huge product line for everybody on the site, maybe tailoring more towards their income and offering what they can afford. And so again, moving on from there, China's middle class is 300 million people, and it keeps growing, it keeps getting stronger, and it's the largest percentage of the population, really, of any community or any country. Sorry. And so this is extremely important because this is the most marketable demographic. And the reason I say this is because when people go on to buy something online, they're not looking to spend $20,000, but they're not going to buy something that they could just buy at the dollar store for $3. It's going to be somewhere in between that. So it's going to be in that, I'd say $15 to $200 range of purchasing, which is generally what most middle class people are going to spend online anyways. So an example for this, kind of going back to clothes once more, is that the middle class person is probably going to buy a $20 to $40 shirt on Amazon, whereas a more high class person is probably going to go to a much nicer in-store person when they can actually try it on, and will likely be willing to spend $300, $400, $500 on a really nice shirt because they have the money to do so. Now there is a small percentage of high class people and a little bit bigger percentage of low-class people, but there's a very large percentage in the middle of middle-class income families who are constantly looking for bargains, constantly looking for deals, and just affordable, basics, clothes, what have you, to buy. So, yeah, I think that this is just a great opportunity for Alibaba and Amazon or any e-commerce site alike to tailor to the middle class, because not only is it the biggest percentage of a population, they have the most amount of e-commerce users likely because of those prices I said earlier, and it could be a real opportunity for sites like Alibaba.com to take advantage of this demographic. And I don't say take advantage then like take advantage of them, but use the demographic to their advantage to make a better profit. So thank you for your time, and congratulations on the great sales.